Nietzsche's game of power. If Nietzsche were alive today, he wouldn't be chasing validation or stressing over unread texts. He'd be the calmest man in the room, watching the emotional chaos unfold while staying 10 steps ahead. Why? Because Nietzsche understood the deeper layers of human nature, especially in the realms of power, emotion, and manipulation. He didn't see women as enemies or puzzles to solve. He saw the game, and he refused to play it blindly. Most men today don't even realize they're being tested, pushed, or emotionally pulled. But Nietzsche did. Over a century ago, he warned, "If you don't understand how power truly works, especially in relationships, you'll be controlled without even knowing it." This video isn't about blaming women, it's about opening your eyes. Because once you see what Nietzsche saw, everything changes. You stop reacting, you start thinking, and you walk through the world with quiet strength and total clarity. Rule 1. He who needs nothing holds the most power. Nietzsche believed real power begins the moment you stop needing it, especially from others, and most especially from women. He saw neediness, validation seeking, and emotional chasing as chains. And most men? They wear those chains proudly, never realizing they've become prisoners to attention, approval, and affection. But the man who needs nothing? He's dangerous. He's free. When a woman senses that you don't need her to feel whole, she loses control over you. That's when the dynamic shifts. You stop chasing, and she starts wondering. Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch wasn't just about strength. It was about self-mastery, emotional independence, the kind of quiet power that doesn't beg, doesn't bargain, and never breaks under pressure. The moment she knows you need her, she owns you. But the Übermensch? He walks alone, and she follows. This isn't about being cold, it's about being unshakable. Stop needing, and you start leading. Rule 2. Never argue emotionally, rise above the chaos. Nietzsche understood something most men still haven't grasped. When emotions run wild, the one who stays calm wins. Women often test through emotion, pushing buttons, creating drama, watching to see if you'll break. Why? Because reaction equals control. But Nietzsche warned, never lower yourself into that chaos. The moment you argue emotionally, you lose your center. You've stepped into the fire, and now you're burning with her. But the man who rises above, he watches, he listens, he doesn't flinch. That's not weakness, it's dominance. In a storm of emotion, clarity is power. Confidence is rare. She screams, you stay silent, she flails, you observe. And in that moment she realizes, you can't be moved. Nietzsche would call that godlike detachment, a level of power that makes you untouchable. Let others drown in drama. You rise above it. Emotion is her weapon. Stillness is yours. Rule 3. Own your shadow, or she will use it against you. Nietzsche said it plainly. Everyone has a shadow. The dark parts of ourselves we hide, deny, or try to forget. But here's the truth. What you ignore, others will use against you, especially in relationships. A woman, whether consciously or not, will test for weakness. She'll poke at your insecurities, your past, your pain, not out of cruelty, but instinct. If you haven't faced those parts of yourself, you'll crumble. You'll react, you'll bleed. But the man who's walked into his own darkness, looked his demons in the eye, and owned them. He becomes untouchable. She brings up your past, your pain. You don't flinch, because you've already faced that demon and tamed it. This is your armor. When you own your flaws, no one can use them to control you. Nietzsche's strength wasn't just of the mind, it was of the soul. True power comes from radical self-awareness. Know your shadow, integrate it, or be ruled by it. Rule 4. Attention. Compete only with yourself. Nietzsche didn't believe in proving yourself to the world. He believed in overcoming yourself. That means never lowering your value by competing for anyone's attention, especially not a woman's. The moment you try to impress her, win her, or stand out among other men, you've already lost your power. You've made her the prize, and yourself the beggar. But the man who focuses on growth, purpose, and discipline, he doesn't chase, he attracts. Nietzsche taught that true strength comes from within, not from the approval of others. While other men perform, post, and plead to be noticed, you stay on your path. You build, you evolve, you become undeniable. Not because you begged to be chosen, but because you chose yourself. And the paradox? While other men chase her, you chase your purpose. And guess who she can't stop thinking about? Be the man who competes with his past, not with other men. That's how you lead. That's how you win. Rule 5. Be dangerous. But controlled Nietzsche didn't admire weakness. But he also didn't glorify mindless aggression. What he respected was power under control. Not the man who lashes out, but the man who could and chooses not to. That's real strength. Women aren't drawn to chaos. They're drawn to edge. To a quiet fire they can feel, but never manipulate. The man who's too nice, he's overlooked. The one who's reckless, discarded. But the man who carries danger like a hidden blade, he's unforgettable. He's respected. Because she knows you could destroy, but you won't. Not because you're soft, but because you've mastered yourself. You're grounded, unshakable. And that balance of danger and discipline, it's rare. Nietzsche's ideal man had power in every step, but never needed to raise his voice to prove it. You're not the nice guy. You're not the jerk. You're the man she senses could break her, but never would. That's fear. That's desire. Be sharp. Be dangerous. But always be in control. Rule 6. Don't explain yourself. Power doesn't beg to be understood. Nietzsche believed that the moment you start justifying yourself, you've already surrendered power. Explanation, especially when it's not asked for or worse, begged for, is the language of the insecure. And today, too many men over-explain, over-text, over-apologize, trying to keep the peace or win approval. But the truth, real power doesn't explain, it simply is. A man grounded in his purpose doesn't need everyone to understand him. He acts, he moves, and the world adjusts. That includes her. Mystery builds power. When you stop filling silence with justification, people lean in, they wonder, they feel your presence. She asks, "Why didn't you text?" You say, "I was busy." No apology, no story, just presence. And she feels it, that calm certainty, that lack of need. It's rare, it's magnetic. Stop trying to be understood. Start standing in who you are. Nietzsche knew, power speaks less, but says more. Rule 7, let her be the one to wonder. Nietzsche's strength wasn't in being wanted. It was in doing the wanting. He believed in being the chooser, not the chosen. But today, too many men flip that script. They chase, they prove, they hope to be picked. And when you do that, you give up your crown. You become one of many fighting for attention. That's not power, that's desperation. A real man builds himself into something so solid, so focused, that he becomes the gravity. She orbits you, not the other way around. Your attention? A reward, not a given. Your time? Rare. Your presence? Earned. Chase her, and that's peasantry. Build your kingdom, and she'll find her way to the gates. Because when you stop chasing, she starts wondering why you're so composed, why you're not trying, why she can't stop thinking about you. And that's the shift, from needy to needed, from follower to force. Nietzsche knew, the man who walks his own path never begs to be followed. And yet, he is. Rule 8. She can test you, but you can't break. Nietzsche knew life will test you, and so will she. Not because she hates you, but because she needs to know you're solid. Women test strength the same way fire tests steel. It's not personal, it's instinct. She'll push your buttons, question your worth, stir your emotions, not to hurt you, but to feel you, to see if you'll flinch, crack, or fold. Most men take the bait, they argue, prove, collapse, but the strong man, he treats it like a game, a silent battle. She says, "You're not enough." You smile. Not to impress, but to show you're unshaken. That smile, it's not weakness, it's proof of inner calm. Nietzsche believed strength wasn't loud, it was still. When you pass the test without even reacting, you earn something deeper than attraction. You earn respect. The man who cannot be broken becomes the man no one forgets. Let her test. Let the fire rise. You stay centered, because real power doesn't explode, it endures. Rule 9. Choose respect over affection. Nietzsche didn't care about being liked. He cared about being respected. Affection is easy. Easy to give, easy to fake, easy to lose. But respect, that's earned. That lasts. Most men chase affection, compliments, smiles, approval, thinking it means connection. But it doesn't. A woman might like you today and ghost you tomorrow, but if she respects you, she remembers you, she rethinks you, she desires you, not to control, but to follow. Because respect creates polarity, it creates weight. Nietzsche taught that the man who values respect over approval walks a higher path. He doesn't tolerate disrespect just to keep the peace. He doesn't bend to be liked. He stands firm and watches as people either rise or fall around that standard. She might not always like you, but she'll never forget you. The man who demands respect and gives it only to the worthy, that man becomes legend. Be liked and you're a moment. Be respected and you're a memory. Rule 10. Use silence as a weapon. Nietzsche believed silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. In a world drowning in noise, the man who holds his tongue holds the high ground. Most men talk too much, explaining, defending, reacting, trying to win with words. But the more you speak, the more you reveal. The more you chase clarity, the more you leak power. Silence, on the other hand, it's sharp. It creates tension. It creates presence. When used with purpose, silence becomes a weapon, one that cuts deeper than any argument. She expects a reaction. You give her stillness. Now the battlefield is hers, and she's losing. Because silence makes her sit with herself. It forces reflection. It shows her you don't need to fight to win. Nietzsche saw silence as the language of mastery, the calm restraint of someone who knows his worth. So next time you're pushed, questioned, or provoked, don't reach for more words. Reach for stillness. The loudest man is rarely the strongest. The man who holds silence, he holds control. Rule 11. Stay grounded in truth, not her emotions. Nietzsche believed in living by truth, not by the shifting tides of emotion. He saw truth as something solid, objective, unshakable. But many men get swept away in emotional storms, especially in relationships. Women often live fluidly in emotional reality. What's true in the moment feels like the whole truth. And when that moment turns against you, it sounds like blame, like distortion, like manipulation. If you're not grounded, you'll get pulled in, arguing, doubting, apologizing for things you didn't even do. But when you hold to truth, you hold power. She says, you're selfish. You know you're focused. That's the difference between feeling and fact. This isn't about dismissing her emotions. It's about not letting them rewrite your reality. Nietzsche's strength was rooted in clarity, in staying centered while the world spun around him. You don't need to fight emotions, just don't lose yourself in them. Truth doesn't chase approval. It just stands. Be that mountain. Rule 12. Don't get pulled into her world. Invite her into yours. Nietzsche believed the highest man creates his own values, his own world. But most men, the moment they meet a woman, they abandon their mission. They bend, they adjust, they start orbiting her pace, her mood, her direction, and in doing so, they lose the very thing that made them attractive in the first place: direction. A man with vision doesn't follow. He leads. He doesn't ask for permission. He builds his kingdom brick by brick, with or without applause. Here's the paradox. You don't ask her to fit in. You simply live your vision and watch her adapt. When you're rooted in your purpose, she feels it. She sees it. She'll either rise to meet your standards or fall away. But you never step off your path to find her. You invite her into the life you've already claimed. Nietzsche's ideal man wasn't reactive. He was a creator. Be the man whose reality is so rich, so defined, that it becomes her new gravity. Don't chase her world. Let her step into yours. Rule 13. Always be willing to walk away. Nietzsche preached unshakable independence, not the kind that clings, begs, or fears the exit. Most men get emotionally entangled. They invest so much, they forget their worth. The idea of walking away? It terrifies them. That's not love. That's bondage. True power? It's the ability to stay calm in the face of loss, to care deeply, but never compromise your values, your vision, your peace just to keep someone. The strongest man isn't the one who gets her. It's the one who can lose her and still sleep like a god. That's not coldness. That's self-respect. Because when she senses you don't need her to feel whole, she sees your value double. You're not clinging, you're choosing. And that is rare. Nietzsche's highest man didn't fear solitude. He thrived in it. So let this be your mindset. Stay if it aligns, walk if it doesn't, and never, ever beg to be kept. The man who can walk away holds the power. The man who won't, he's already lost. Rule 14. Don't try to change her. Observe her. Nietzsche. Warned, don't moralize people, don't fix them. Don't mold them into your idea of what they should be. Instead, observe. Most men waste energy explaining, pleading, correcting, trying to make her see, make her grow, make her stay. But truth doesn't come from what she says. It comes from what you see. She says she values honesty, but hides truths. She says she wants peace, but feeds the flame. You don't argue, you don't judge, you simply watch. Power isn't loud, it's quiet awareness. You trust patterns, not promises, actions, not apologies. You ask, does her behavior align with your values? Is she walking beside your mission, or pulling you off your path? The higher man doesn't cling to illusions. He sees clearly, moves cleanly, and never tries to fix what time has already revealed. Watch long enough, and the truth always steps into the light. Rule 15. Transcend pleasure. Don't be ruled by desire. Nietzsche believed that strength begins where impulse ends. Most men, they're slaves to sex, to attention, to validation. They chase what feels good and lose what makes them good. When pleasure becomes your god, power abandons you. But the highest man, he isn't anti-pleasure. He just doesn't need it. He can taste desire, but never get drunk on it. He can enjoy her, but never worship her. And that makes him dangerous. She tempts, he smiles. Because he's tasted something deeper than pleasure, purpose. And she can feel it. That calm resistance, that lack of need, it shakes her. Because women don't just sense hunger, they test for it. And when they find a man who doesn't drool, doesn't chase, doesn't need, he becomes a mystery, a magnet. Nietzsche's ideal man wasn't a consumer, he was a creator. Direct your energy into building, not craving. Don't run from desire, rise above it. Pleasure fades, power builds, and the man who masters both, he becomes untouchable. Rule 16. She's not the prize. Nietzsche didn't believe in chasing illusions. He believed in becoming. Becoming something so strong, so self-contained, so undeniably valuable that the world has to respond. But most men forget this. They pedestalize beauty, worship it like it's sacred. But beauty is common. Power is not. And Nietzsche knew. The moment you see yourself as the prize, everything changes. You stop chasing, you start choosing, you stop performing, you start being. She's beautiful. So what? You're powerful. And power doesn't beg, it commands. That's the line between the boy and the man. The boy chases what sparkles. The man builds what shines. You walk like the prize, speak like the prize, live like the prize. And suddenly, there's no need to convince anyone. They just know. She sees it, she feels it, and she follows it. Nietzsche's Übermensch didn't wait to be crowned. He became the crown. So stop looking for validation. Stand in it. You're not a contestant. you're the storm, and the storm never chases. Nietzsche didn't preach hatred. He preached transcendence. He didn't blame women. He didn't blame the world. He turned inward, sharpened his mind, hardened his will, and built a life that answered to no one but truth. This path isn't about domination. It's about self-overcoming. It's the path of the Übermensch, the man who doesn't react. He creates, who doesn't beg for approval. He commands respect. He doesn't fear the test. He welcomes it. Because fire doesn't destroy him. It proves him. This isn't a game. It's the end of being played. In a world of followers, Nietzsche became a god of his own making. Now it's your turn. Don't fight for the crown. Become it. Let them talk. Let them test you. You walk unbothered, unbroken, unchained.